How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Creature from the Black Lagoon from 1954, directed by Jack Arnold and starring Julie Adams. This movie, we open up on the Amazon jungle. This archaeologist has found a fossil of a hand inside a rock. It's sticking out there. They take it off because this isn't a normal hand. It's very aquatic in nature, and they think this fossil might belong to a new species. So they take it back to America, and they're really intrigued with it. They send several more scientists down in this boat to launch a big expedition to see what's up. However, when they get back, they find that the people they had left there have all died. And they go, okay, that's terrible, probably an animal or something, right? They then dig through the rock and unfortunately can find no more fossils. Now, the rock's next to a river, though, and one guy gets this hypothesis that maybe bits of the rock eroded into the river and flowed downstream. They ask their local guide, what's downstream? And he answers, the haunted Black Lagoon. They say people go there and never come back. But of course that's just a legend. So they press on down the river to the Black Lagoon to see if they can find more fossils in the water there. But of course, as anyone knows from even just the picture on the front, there's more than a fossil waiting for them. There's at least one, as they call them, Gilman. Well, actually, I think it's people in the real world call them, not in the movie, but Gilman. There's at least one Gilman left. And this is a really interesting creature. First of all, they're going into its territory, and some of the people are being aggressive. It's really just in its home being disturbed. You know, it's in a lot of cases just trying to defend itself. And you also get where it's not necessarily completely hostile to everyone. It's actually the girl, Julie Adams, it treats quite favorably. It seems to like her. This would go on to much later inspire the movie The Shape of Water. But yeah, it's kind of where he's not really a bad guy, he's just a wild animal that they messed with. But you also get this creature sort of serving to bridge the gap between the classic monster era of Universal and the sci-fi monster era of Universal. He's sort of, you know, kind of hard. He gets classified as a classic monster. And he has, you know, his part, his, you know, edition of the Blu-ray that matches all the other classic monsters. But he doesn't really feel as gothic as those. This is much more science fiction creature feature stuff rather than the old classic monsters. But he still does kind of fit with them. It's weird. But later on, Universal would do, you know, a bunch of sci-fi monster movies, and this sort of acts as a connection piece between those two states of Universal. I kind of found that pretty interesting. But the other thing we need to talk about with the creature is its really cool design. They actually got a really good diver to play him underwater, and in turn they didn't need an air tank, so he could actually move around and you wouldn't see the thing keeping him under there. You know, you wouldn't see a big bulb on his back where an air tank was, and you wouldn't see all the bubbles that it might make. You know, so it looked like just a creature that's supposed to be living under there, because they got a guy that could really do it. And the costume itself is really good looking. I mean, you look at lots of old campy monster movies, there's a ton of bad costumes. But this costume is really good, especially an original design. That's, I suppose, one thing I should bring up. You know, when you get creature features, you know, you tend to get lots of, you know, altered versions of normal creatures. Maybe they're bigger or more aggressive, or there are tons of them, you know. But this is a completely original creature, and it's one of the major early ones to do their own creature, and this is essentially the granddaddy of creature feature films. And if it wasn't for things like this, you wouldn't get things like, say, The Predator later down the line. And this is a very important film for that reason. But yeah, it's cool to see them there. They get stuck there. The creature's picking them off. They have to find out, what can they do to defeat it. Maybe the local guide knows something, and, they even get to find, like, where the creature's been living later in the movie, a lair for him. And they get to see, more about the creature, and they get to see, should they, attack it, should they just try to escape. And it gets to be a fun survival movie, a really cool creature feature movie. And yeah, this is important to creature features. This is important to bridging the gap to the Universal sci-fi movies later on. 54, so yeah, after a lot of the other Universal series, a lot of the other Universal movies. And even though this feels really different from the other Universal monsters, it's still a really good movie, and it's really fun. The creature, unfortunately, would only have 2 sequels, Revenge of the Creature and The Creature Walks Among Us, and I hope to get to them a little quicker, I want to, go ahead and watch the whole trilogy. And unfortunately also never crossed over with anyone except for Abbott and Costello did a crossover, but not a movie, just an episode of the Colgate Comedy Hour. So, yeah, kind of its own little confined thing, but good to see a cool, different, and original to Universal, original Universal monster. I guess that's part of the reason why I haven't seen a million of them, because, this is property of Universal. It's not like Dracula where anyone can make it. I mean, you can still make sea monsters. I mean, Guillermo del Toro did that. But it's cool to see this, and this is a fun movie. It's great. I definitely recommend you guys checking it out. Anyway, to everyone who stuck around this long, thank you for watching. And to everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I do about 95% horror on this channel, and I'll be back again really soon. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you again next time.